There's a strange kind of tension that can happen at school. It's not because of the usual things, like a pop quiz or a big game. It's a tension that comes from what you can't see. No clear answers, no official announcements, just whispers, questions, and the feeling that something unusual is about to unfold. Today, I'm sharing 3 true stories of school lockdowns. Each one is different, each one is strange, and each one left students talking long after the final bell rang. By the end of this video, you might never see a normal school day the same way again. Let's start with a story that begins at the end of the school week, just before a much-needed break. It was a Friday, 7th period, and spring break was so close you could almost taste it. The classroom was buzzing with restless energy. Students were half watching the clock, half listening to the teacher, their minds already on vacation. Our teacher, a cool guy who always tried to make class engaging, could sense the mood. He decided to ditch the lesson plan. Instead, he pulled up an online quiz game on the smartphone. The room erupted with friendly competition. Students were laughing, shouting out answers and joking with each other. It was the perfect way to slide into a week off. Then, the loudspeaker crackled to life and a voice echoed through the room, cutting through the laughter. It was a lockdown announcement. All teachers were instructed to follow the procedure immediately. The energy in the classroom shifted in an instant. The laughter stopped. The smiles vanished. The room fell silent. Our teacher, calm and collected, sprang into action. He turned off the lights, plunging the room into semi-darkness. He quietly guided us away from the door and windows, into a corner of the classroom where we'd be out of sight. We all sat on the floor, huddled together, our hearts racing in the sudden, unnerving quiet. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours. All we could hear was the sound of our own breathing and the frantic thumping in our chests. He assured us that everything was now under control. The lights came back on and the lockdown was lifted. The immediate danger was over, but the feeling it left behind lingered. The last few minutes of class were quiet. No one felt like playing games anymore. The experience left a lasting impression. Even after we came back from spring break, students remembered how tense and strange those moments felt, how quickly a normal afternoon turned into something completely unknown. If you find stories like this as fascinating as I do, make sure to subscribe to Mystery Spectrum. But right across the street, unfolding in plain sight, yet shrouded in confusion. The cafeteria was noisy and crowded, the typical scene of students trying to cram down their food and catch up with friends. Maybe it was just thunder from the approaching storm, or perhaps some heavy machinery from a nearby construction site, but the school staff knew better. Almost immediately, teachers and lunch monitors started directing everyone to get up and move. There was a sense of urgency in their voices that told us this was not a drill. We left our lunch trays behind, half-eaten sandwiches and all, and filed quietly into the school's multi-purpose room. Once we were all inside, the atmosphere grew even more tense. The heavy curtains were drawn across the windows, blocking out the gray daylight and whatever was happening outside. Adults, teachers, and administrators stood guard near every exit, their faces serious. We didn't know what was going on, but a wave of curiosity and nervous energy filled the room. Whispers started to ripple through the crowd of students. One of my friends, bolder than the rest of us, managed to ask a teacher what was happening. The answer was both simple and surprising. There was someone outside, near the school, behaving in a very unusual and unpredictable way. The authorities were on the scene, and the school was taking every precaution to make sure we all stayed safe inside. Later, we found out more details. The person had a known history of strange behavior, and their presence so close to the school had triggered a full-scale response. The entire situation left a lasting impression, not just because of the scare, but because of how meticulously the school handled it. It was a real-life lesson in crisis management. Even after things returned to normal and we were allowed to go back to our day, the strange events of that rainy afternoon were all anyone could talk about. It was a reminder that the world outside the school walls can sometimes bring its mysteries right to the doorstep. Our third story hits a little closer to home because it happened to me. I was 22 years old at the time, working as a computer intern at my old high school. It was a summer job and I spent most of my days in a small windowless office in the school's basement. It was actually pretty comfortable, quiet, cool thanks to the air conditioning, and away from all the hustle and bustle. One afternoon, I was working at my desk when my phone buzzed with a text from a coworker upstairs. The message was short and alarming. The school was on lockdown. My heart skipped a beat. Down in my basement bubble, I had no idea. I hadn't heard any announcement. A sudden, chilling realization washed over me. The basement office wasn't fully secure. The door had a handle, but the lock didn't work. It hadn't been a priority to fix it. Suddenly, that felt like a very big oversight. My little sanctuary now felt like a trap. Following my instinct, I immediately turned off the lights and the monitor, plunging the small office into darkness. I got down on the floor, behind the desk, and waited, my ears straining for any sound. My mind was racing. Was this real? What was happening upstairs? After a few minutes of absolute silence, I heard it. The slow creak of the door at the top of the stairs, followed by footsteps descending into the basement. My breath caught in my throat. I couldn't see them clearly in the dim light filtering from the stairwell, but someone was definitely there, moving slowly, deliberately. I stayed completely still, trying to control my breathing. My phone was my only connection to the outside world. I quietly texted my coworkers upstairs, letting them know someone was in the basement with me. We communicated back and forth in hushed, digital whispers. Through them, I learned that the situation involved an unauthorized person who had managed to get inside the school. It felt like an eternity, but eventually, I heard more footsteps on the stairs, heavier, more confident this time. I heard voices, firm and official. The authorities had arrived, they handled the situation, and soon, the lockdown was lifted. The person in the basement was escorted out, and everyone was confirmed to be safe. That moment has stuck with me ever since. It was a stark reminder of how unpredictable even the most familiar places can be. A place I had walked through thousands of times as a student suddenly felt alien and unsafe. School lockdowns eventually end. The bells ring, the lights come on, and the day goes on. But the unusual memories, the moments of uncertainty and fear, can last a lifetime. These stories weren't about violence or tragedy. They were about something more subtle, but just as unsettling. They were about moments that felt strange, uncertain, and completely unforgettable. Sometimes the real mystery isn't about what happens, but about what you see, what you hear, and most of all, what you don't. This is Mystery Spectrum, reminding you that some stories can make you see ordinary days in an entirely different way. Thanks for watching.